All right, I'm seeing some thumbs up, big thumbs up. Beautiful. All right. Welcome everyone to How to Work Less Cohort 2. This is awesome. I'm glad you're here. So today's session is our first of 8. It's called Design Your Life, and it is part of our productivity week. So this course is structured in 4 weeks, each with a different theme. I'll get deep into each of them, but just to let you know, we are on the productivity week, and let's get it done. Oh, Stefan. All right, let me make sure. Is this PDF still loading for some people? Mm-hmm. Can anyone not see the PDF? Just loaded. Beautiful. Okay, if anyone has any PDF issues, let me know. I can switch to screen sharing. It's not as beautiful of an experience, but I don't want anyone to not be able to see it. So just drop a message in the chat if that comes up at some point. All right, showtime. Everyone, welcome to How to Work Less. Give yourself a big round of applause for being here. Yes. All right. We're here. It's our first lesson. Let's get into it. So listen, I can't start this out without giving you some free stuff. So people reach out to me all the time and want to give me free stuff to give to other people. And this cohort is no exception. So I got 2 free things that I am providing for all of my lovely cohort members. Number 1 is a pretty sweet journal. It's called Finisher's Journal. I actually have had this prior to being able to get it for free for you all. It's pretty high quality. Here's one right here. It is a daily planner for entrepreneurs. It's pretty cool. So for this and the Brain FM subscription, I will make a page in Circle on our course community. You'll go in there and you'll enter a form with your name and your address for the journal. And there are other instructions for the Brain FM subscription. And it'll get signed up. Brain FM, I've been talking about literally since I got on Instagram. I've been using it for like 6 years. I've partnered with them on some Instagram posts and stuff. But yeah, it's a free 1-year subscription. It's normally $50. It's focused music. It's really, really awesome. I use it multiple times a week, and I'm glad to be able to share it with everyone. So starting things off, like Oprah with some gifts, just keeping it flowing. But do remember, both of these you have to claim by Friday. I will remind you. It's in Circle. There are just like some things you have to do to get them. I will make it very clear, but by Friday, okay? You get a car. Everyone gets a car. All right. So here's what we're talking about today. There are 4 parts to today's lesson. It's going to be, oh, you still can't see the PDF? Try logging in again. Whoops. Try logging in again, I guess. And if you can't, I will screen share. Oh, now it works. Beautiful. So there are 4 sections in today's course. So I'm going to introduce the course to you. I'm going to do a little housekeeping, show you how it's done. We're all going to get to know each other. Second, I'm going to basically tell you the kind of the foundation for everything that we're going to learn, which is part 2, how to work less. You're also going to learn the work less formula, which you may know of or you may not in that section. We're going to take a brief intermission in between these 2. And then in parts 3 and 4, I'm going to teach you the right thing framework, which is my framework for prioritization, deciding what's important and taking action on it. And then we're going to close with the Design Your Life exercise, which is super, super important. I hope that we will be able to get through all this in 2 hours. That is what I'm aiming for. But if I go long or it looks like I'm going long, I'll give you the heads up early. Obviously, the replay is always available to everyone. So if you have to leave or you miss a session, replays will be available in Circle. All right. Here we are, people. Number 1, course introduction. So let's start things out with some icebreakers. All right. We're gonna get weird and we're gonna do some icebreakers. Okay, so one at a time. I want everyone to sing the first 30 seconds of their favorite song. Okay, starting with Max. Just kidding. We're not doing that. All right, let's do some icebreakers. So let me start this up. This is interactive. No one has to sing. On the screen, I want you to stamp where you are on the map. I'll stamp myself too. Boop. As close to myself as possible. Oof. Looks like we've got some North America, some Europe, some people out in the Arctic. All right. Well, we have a great group of people from all over the world. Now I want you to stamp your choice. Are we cat people or are we dog people? Oh, wow, heavy. Okay, jeez. I am shocked. I am shocked by the amount of dog people in here.
People just haven't met cool cats yet.
Apparently, this never happens, but okay. Dog people, shout out.
Maybe both.
Yeah, you just put it right in the middle line. All right, next.
Somehow my avatar picture took place of Ben's. He just posted in chat.
Ben, I'm really sorry to sorry that's happening to you.
My name is now Ben.
Wow. So all right, you know, Butter's gonna have some issues. So are we winter people or are we summer people? You can be in the middle. Got some. Okay, wow.
These are hard questions.
You know, I'm trying to get your mind moving early in the experience. Okay, next. Are we coffee people or are we tea people? All right. Looks like we're predominantly coffee over here. All right. Physical book or e-reader? All right. Couple of Kindle users in the building, mostly physical. Yeah, I used to be Kindle, and then I switched over to physical because I like underlining, and I find it really annoying to underline on the Kindle. Okay, next. Are we morning people or are we night owls? Okay, some a little mix, mostly morning people, a little night owl action. Everyone's welcome here. All right, do we like working from home or from the coffee shop? Since probably most of us are wow, easy. Most of us are self-employed. I think probably 90+%. Yeah, co-working space could be in the coffee shop thing. So basically, if you're in your pajamas at home, you're on the left side. All right, couple. Cool. All right, for this one, we're using the chat. Last TV show or movie you watched? I'll go first. I watched the Lord of the Rings show. It was all right. Stranger Things. A lot of TV show. Yeah, I watched House of the Dragon. That's pretty good. Sandman, that was really good. Nice. A lot of Sandman. Nice. The Heaven's Gate documentary on Netflix is crazy. That was really interesting. All right. Another personal question for you. We're heading towards the end of our icebreakers. Favorite book? Could be fiction or nonfiction, or just the first book you think of. No pressure. All righty. Hey, these are some good ones. A lot of nonfiction. Highly effective people. Yeah. Nice. Nice. All right, beautiful. Last question. This is really going to stretch you. You may have to get out your mobile device for this. Go into your phone and post in the chat your most used emoji, whatever your number one emoji on your phone is. You cannot lie about this. The bow. Wow, that's a niche one. I like that. Wow. Upside down smiley face. That's a classic. These are really good. I think you can learn a lot about someone from their most used emoji. Yeah, me and Daniel both have the same. That's what I'm talking about. I don't think anyone else has the same one that I had. A lot of laughing, upside down smiley face. Heart, you can't go wrong with the heart, but do you choose between the dark red heart or the lighter red heart? It's very difficult. All right, mind blown. That's classic. All right. That concludes our interactive icebreaker. Hopefully everyone now feels like their ice is broken. I got a couple more things we're going to do here, and then we'll go in. All right. So what's next is we're going to talk about what we do. So type in as few words as possible what you do for a living, so we can get to know what everyone does. I may switch this from maybe a word cloud is better. Hey, that looks cool. Maybe it's worse. A lot of designers. It's so weird. It's almost like people that do what I do signed up for my course. Comic artist. That's awesome, John. Love that. Marketing for tennis professionals. Love it. Designer, design, human design coach, VA, designer. Help brands make money. That's good. That's a good business model. Help other people make money. Video, a lot of video people too. There's a couple people in the chat. I guess there's two places you could put this. Help coaches build their courses. Cool. So we have a lot of self-employed people and a lot of creative people. Let me see if I can switch to the word cloud. Can you all see the word cloud? That's kind of cool. Business, design, designer, product, people, coach. That's pretty sweet. All right. If you haven't put your answer in by now, we can talk about it later. Next icebreaker. All right, this is the last one, and then it's showtime. How many hours do you think you're working a week right now? A lot of 50s. 60, 45, 50. Yeah, it's a trick question. Too many effective ones. Great point. Yep. Not enough and too many. That sounds right. 40, 75. All right. Let's find 65 to 70. 75. Jeez. Peter, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing? All right. Let's see if our word cloud does anything for us here. Okay. It looks like the most common answers are 30, 40, and 50. All right. Sweet. Okay, folks, that concludes our icebreakers. I want to give everyone a big round of applause. You did so good. You did so good. All right, let's get our slides back up. I hope we all feel like we know and care for each other now. That should have started on my slide. That's going to be annoying. Okay, so I did a little bit of research and personal math. If you logged in the last 24 hours, you might not be on here. But if you're curious, this is our cohort 2 breakdown. United States coming in extremely strong with 27 people. Germany, big shout out to Germany for second place. And we really kind of go down from there. I am German. I just want to say, I don't know if that's why you signed up, but I am German. I don't know why India is here. I think I added that India. They should be up on this top row. Go Canada. Big shout out to Canada. And a little bit more categorization on what people do. I tried to go as broad as possible and lump people into groups. So if you feel like I didn't tag you correctly, sorry, my apologies. Looks like we're a lot of creatives, some content creators, some project managers, OBMs. Big shout out to the dentist in the building. That's what I'm talking about. We have one orthodontist, one physiotherapist. These are the real heroes of this course. All right, that's it. Let's talk about the course, shall we? Before we get started, let me go ahead and introduce myself real quick. My name is, an orthodontist is like, wait, can I even define that? It's like a dentist, but they make your teeth straight. That's probably not the best definition. Maybe someone in the chat can do a better job. Oh, who's an orthodontist? He may not be here. I'm not sure. But he did sign up. Okay. So I'm Rich. Hello, everyone. You probably know me from the internet, where you might follow me on Instagram or Twitter or see me speak live before. But I also run a business. It's a design business called Richard Media Company. Last year, it did over $500,000. I spent about 14.28 hours a week running that business. And what else? Yeah, I'm on Instagram. You probably already know that. And I made this course. This is probably not relevant. I am from the lovely city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in the United States. This is what Philadelphia looks like. That is our art museum, and that is the city hall behind it. I can actually do this too. This is cool. That's the art museum. Anyway, these are my cats, Larry and Czar. That's why we had the animal filtering question where I found out that everyone here likes dogs, but I have two cats, Larry and Czar. They're extremely cute. And yeah, a little background about the company. My agency is called RMC, Richard Media Company. The three things that we kind of do is design, graphic design, web design, video production, and strategic communications. What that looks like in practice is work with a bunch of clients. A lot of them are quite big. Over the years, I've done some really exciting projects. And yeah, it's been cool. We have recorded over 100 million video views over the years, which is a fun milestone statistic here. And basically, any American news outlet, the work I've done has been featured in. They haven't written about me personally, but they have written about my clients who are much more interesting than I am. So that's been pretty cool as well. Also had the privilege to work with some celebs in the United States over the years. Pretty random and all over the place, but that's Baron Davis, Bernie Sanders, Chance the Rapper, Carly Fiorina, who is the CEO of Hewlett Packard, and Larry King, who unfortunately is no longer with us. Also of interest, I have no full-time employees. You probably figured that out by now, but 0 full-time employees. Also of interest, if you are earlier on in your journey, I always say this because I think this is super important. I did not come out of the womb fully formed. I have been doing this for 10 years. The first year that I was in business, I made about 10 grand, which if you are in the States, you could have made more money working at McDonald's or a coffee shop. So I did not just I was not born with all of these ideas and with this business. I was bad at pretty much everything. Yeah, that was full time. I was bad at pretty much everything that I was doing, and somehow people still paid me a little bit of money. But I did not figure this stuff out overnight. So I think that's important context. These are finances from last year. I included this in the last cohort. These are the real numbers. If you're curious, my company and the other kind of ways that you can get paid, right? Like consulting, and one client has been paying me on a W-9 for the last 6 years. So that's the real number. It's all real money. This is the real time. This is my time tracking for 2021. I use an app called Toggl, Toggl, to track my time. I highly recommend tracking your time. A W-9 is when they pay you as an employee. A 1099 is when they pay you as an independent contractor. And then the first one was revenue from my business, or not revenue, paid payment to myself. Toggl is a time tracking software. These are the exact hours that I worked in 2021. And when it was all said and done, I worked 14.1 hours a week. So I got the receipts. And this is a random weekly schedule. This is what I love for my weeks to look like. You can see that I try to schedule my meetings all on one day. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less. But if I had my my dream week, it would look something like this. The reason I give you all this information, one, is so you can get to know me a little bit better, but it is also to remind you that if I can make this work, you can too. The biggest objection that I hear from people when I explain these concepts to them is the first thought, pretty much without a doubt, is that's great, but that would never work for me. You don't understand my business or my situation or my industry. And listen, if I had explained all this information to you about my business without telling you that I work 15 hours a week on it, you would probably be like, yeah, that's not possible. So that is a big limiting belief that we are going to try to break. And it sometimes takes some time, but this is definitely applicable to any business in any industry. You just have to approach it with an open mind. All right. Some other things. You guys probably already do most of this stuff, but I'm my own boss. That's sick. I start and stop work whenever I want. I can travel whenever I want. This summer, I stopped working for a week every month. I was in the Bahamas for 2 weeks and in the mountains for another week. Last year, I read 45 books, so I had free time for that. I can kind of do whatever I want. And I have time to do things like teach this course, which is much more interesting to me than what I do in my business these days. So as you can see, I'm really optimizing for freedom. I also have some weird hobbies. Some of my weird hobbies include a couple years ago when I decided I wanted to be a professional gamer, and I got really good at this card game called Hearthstone, and was actually like broadcast, and I played in front of like thousands of people, and I got flown out to this like tournament. So that's one of the other things that I, I like freeing up my time for, is because I get like really down the rabbit hole on hobbies. I've done gaming. I've gotten really into fish tanks. That was one obsession for a while. Right now, I am like right at the beginning of an obsession returning to playing guitar, which I played guitar for most of my life, but that's my new. Yeah, I was a Hearthstone pro. I'm retired now. So like I'm just explaining all this stuff to like let you know what possibilities are available to you and how you can kind of design your life. Because I don't consider myself to be particularly good at anything that I do in my business. Um, yeah, no Hearthstone's not work; it's life. Anyway, so that's what we're going to learn. Okay, we're going to learn how to apply this to your life. So let's jump over to our housekeeping. I'm going to try to go through this quickly and make it as fun and interactive as possible, but you really need to know how some of these things work so that you can get the most out of the course. We'll try to make this fun. Okay, so first of all, we're in Butter right now. Butter is our lovely workshop platform. I'm going to teach you the features. It's only going to take a second. Okay, so the first feature is reactions. So one of the ways that you can let me know that what I'm saying makes sense is you can go over to the reaction tab and you can press one of these buttons and go, oh yeah, yep, you're doing it. Everyone's doing a great job. Perfect. When a lot of people react, we get a big thing. It's really cool. Please use that. Let me know that you're alive, that you're understanding what I'm saying. And you can also use the numeric keys to do the reaction. And because I'm the host, I can do things like this. You do not have access to that feature, but I do. Okay, the chat, we've obviously seen already. We've learned how to post in there. It's very cool. If you have questions, I want to throw this out there now. If you have questions, you can ask them in the chat. So I will try to answer questions as I go. But once we get into the actual course material, if questions are flying in, what I get at the end of this is a transcription of the entire session. And if you ask a question and I can't address it, or we're in flow and we're going, I will try to answer all questions that are put in the chat afterwards. I'll usually go through them and record like a Loom video and answer them to the best of my ability, or I will put them in writing. So if you have a question, don't be like, oh, it's not the right time. You can just drop it in there. I will get to it at some point. So that is going to be the best way to do it. You'll also be able to ask questions verbally in sections throughout. So I'll have some times at the ends of different sections if people have questions to ask. And then at the very end, if we don't go miles over, we'll do Q&A at the end as well. Okay. You can also take notes if you want, which is kind of cool. You press the button N, or you go to notes, and you can take private notes during the session if you're into that kind of thing. No pressure to do that, but it does pull up a notepad that I think it either emails it to you after or does something, but you have private notes over there. All right, that concludes our tour of Butter. Hopefully that all made sense. Let's do a pop. Give me a reaction if that all made sense. All right. Perfect. Let's move along, shall we? Okay. So I'm going to do this circle tour. Hopefully most of you have seen Circle already. Oops. Apologies for that. But I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick and just give you a very quick walkthrough because unfortunately it's kind of important. Okay, where is this? All right, drop me a little something to let me know you can see the screen. Perfect. Okay. All right, here's what we need to know. We're in Circle. Circle is the course community. This is where everything that doesn't happen in these sessions is going to take place. There are a few things you need to know about Circle. Number one is I will share all announcements related to the course in this announcements section here. So anything you need to know about the course, you can always check it right here. By default, you do get an email from me when you see that. When I post, Circle has pretty aggressive contacting you settings where they will try to email you about everything. So adjust those to your preference. But anything that is official from me will come here. So if you're like, I need to get caught up, or I don't know where the link for Friday's workshop is, you can come to the announcements. Okay, Q&A as we get into the curriculum. There's just one sample in here right now. You can ask any questions that you have about the curriculum, the course, specifics, even questions about your business, whatever you want, and they'll get answered in this Q&A right here. I'll also post answers to questions from these sessions that maybe didn't get covered in here. So that's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to post, you just press the plus sign here. Share your wins. We have one lovely win share from our previous cohort, but this is available to you to share your wins, get feedback, connect. Adam from last cohort did this awesome calendar blocking. So anything like that, you share whatever you want. Find some new software that you think is cool. You implement something from the course and it helped. You can drop it right in there. All right. Next section is assignments. So there are going to be some assignments in the course, and I've done my absolute best to make these assignments as manageable and productive as possible, because that's the point. That's the point of this. You'll learn what these two are in our session today, but you'll put your assignment answers in here. So you'll just go, whatever this one is, don't worry about what it says. We'll talk about it later. And you'll just put it right in here below. So all the comments will just go below that specific assignment. You won't make a new thread. And as the course goes, we'll add more here. And that'll be how that works. Other things you need to know. Recordings. This is where every lesson will go. So I really try to organize things and make it super easy to access and return to the course materials. So each lesson, after we tape it, you will get the recording. There will be a page created here. And on there will be the replay, the slides, all the resources, a very nicely summarized list of what your assignments are for the next lesson, and any other things that we talked about that might be of interest to you. There is also a very detailed outline of every lesson that I share, which you'll be able to look at in the recordings and also in the Notion toolkit, which I'll get to in a second. What else do I need to tell you? If you need help at any point, you should have received a DM from me already. You can message me directly, or you can ask questions or create a post in Circle. Either works. Whatever you're more comfortable with is fine. If you think it's something that the community can help you with, I definitely encourage you to ask, especially if you want people to weigh in. So that's how you'll get support. The last thing that I'm going to share, which is exciting and new for cohort 2, is I am going to try to make your homework experience a little bit more fun. And I debated changing the name of the homework to Fun Work, but I just felt like it wasn't going to stick. So Instead, I've created these badges that you will receive for completing your homework assignments. And the way that it works is in Circle, you'll see, so this is me, right? Rich Webster. You'll see that right now I have this badge next to my name. Now, I received this badge because I completed the homework assignment that you will do. And over the course of the course, you will accrue badges for completing your assignments and attending the lectures and participating. And I may even have some special badges for doing other stuff that have not been announced yet. But I just want to show you that's how it works. If you do the assignments, you get them. I'll explain it all to you, but it should be fun. And by the end, you should have like a ton of these next to your name. All right, so that is Circle. Does anyone have any questions about that before I go to the next part? I mean, there's a lot of like tech people here. I feel like this should be pretty self-explanatory. Great. I will take your silence as a yes. All right, quick quiz before we move on. This is important. Have you used Notion before? Okay. Predominantly, people have used it or have it installed. Some people have not. In the first cohort, everyone used Notion. And I was like about to go into the spiel about like how to use Notion. And then they were like, yeah, we're good. But we have some people that that haven't used it. So what I will do is I will share, because I'm not going to make everyone watch me teach you how to use Notion. I will share a quick video showing you how to use it in the course community later today. I will post that. But in the meantime, I'm going to share the screen and show you how the toolkit works for the course. All right. Thanks for filling out that poll, everyone who did. And let me go ahead and show you how our Notion toolkit works. Share my screen. Okay. So you should be able to see on my screen here this Notion toolkit. It may be weirdly cropped. I can't tell if it is. But this is now available to you in Circle. Okay. Oops. Where's the notes? This is now available to you in Circle. It's in the links section. I will tell you where to find it in a post after the lesson, but it's right in there in the links. It just says Notion Toolkit. And basically, you just need to download Notion, and you'll be able to access this. If you don't already have it, I'll give you a guide on how to set it up. But here's how the toolkit works. So this is basically where all of the additional resources for the course are going to be put. It is updated with each lesson. So all the resources that are connected to that lesson will appear here. It's also really easy to go through here and recap with yourself everything that you learned in the lesson. So I actually kind of give a really, really detailed outline of everything that is covered in the lesson. So you'll get one of these for each, as well as what your assignments are. This is the slides for today's lesson. Quick topics covered. These are PDFs that are cheat sheets for some of the concepts that I'm going to talk about later in the session. And then there'll be Notion templates and pages. This is one for your homework assignment. And you'll also be able to very easily see assignments. So I will update this for each lesson, and you'll see it basically formatted like this, where you have the outline, the slide deck, and then all of these resources here for you. So yeah, that's how that works. Hopefully it should be really helpful and allow you to retain more information and kind of learn as we go. All right. Thank you for the fire emoji. Last thing for housekeeping, and then we can talk about some fun stuff. We're coming back to my PDF here. Wow. Gonna have to fast forward. All right. Oh, badges. This is also a representation of that. All right. How to succeed in the course. This is not going to take long. It's probably pretty pretty intuitive, but I do want to be clear about, if you want to get the results from this course, what you should do. So number one, you should do the assignments. I have designed them so they will not take a lot of time. They're incorporated into the curriculum. A lot of times I let you do them during the course, but you will not get the results if you don't do the assignments, okay? Does anyone else only see the first page of the PDF? Oops. Still loading. I'm probably gonna, well, you can just listen to me because there's actually nothing interesting going on here, but I might switch to screen share at some point. All right. Sorry, everyone. Great. So do the assignments. It's extremely important. If you want the results, it would definitely benefit you to, one, watch all the lessons. That's probably important. And two, do the assignments. Second one is ask questions. I am available here as a resource. Your course community is also available as a resource. And I encourage you to use me and the course and the community as much as you can over the next 4 weeks. So I'll be available to answer questions, whether it's in the chat or afterwards in the course community. I'm going to tell you now to respect each other. I think that's implied, but I have to say it. And obviously, if anyone acts wild, there's a zero tolerance policy here. Okay. I shouldn't have to tell you this, but respect each other. There are many different levels here. People are at different stages in their journey. You may go through here and you might see things that you already know. You might see something that doesn't apply to you specifically. Just know that it is relevant for someone. And even if you already know it, sometimes you don't need new information. You just need to be reminded of stuff that you already know so you actually do it. Okay? And then finally, post and circle. Those who engage in the course get the best results. That is a research-backed fact. Those who participate tend to get the best outcomes. So participate in the chat, participate in the course community, and you may even get some sweet badges next to your name for your trouble. Just saying. Great. That's it, people. We are finally on to the next section. So welcome to your work less journey. That's right. I am doing math right now, and I would be shocked if we didn't go a little bit over 2 hours. Just telling you now. Just telling you now. Work less journey. So a quick quiz for you. Where are you right now? So you can click in this quiz as many things that resonate with you in your current situation. Can you see the quiz? Cool. All right, there we go. Oops. You can select all of them, just so you know. Wow. All right. Not everyone has answered, but you got to be quick on the draw. Let's look at our results, shall we? It turns out all the people that bought an online course called How to Work Less are working too many hours. That's a good sign. Delegation, we're going to cover that for sure. Lack of focus, long to-do lists. Yeah, no boundaries between work and life. That's a big one. Lack of systems. It's good. Not a lot of people are putting out fires. I'm glad to hear that. Yep. Okay, perfect. So that's kind of our baseline for where we are. Let's talk about what to do about it. Man, this thing is so screwed up. Let me share my screen. A moment, please. All right, you're not going to have to see that load weirdly anymore. My gift to you. Okay, this should be the last time we have any weirdness with the slides. Yeah, thumbs up. Thank you. You know what? You all are great. You guys are great. Okay. So our goal for this course is to apply the tools of productivity in order to work less. Now, the issue that I see often when it comes to people trying to be more productive is they use the tools of productivity in order to jam more stuff into the day and actually make themselves busier. So they really focus more on being efficient instead of effective. And I have always really come at it from the opposite perspective, which is that we should use the tools of productivity in order to make our lives better and work less. So that's what I'm going to teach you. That's what this course is all about. I've been searching for a definition for productivity because I get asked it a lot. And this tweet is probably the closest to my personal feeling about the definition of productivity. And I think it's right on the money. And it's simple. Productivity is simply getting the result you want. If you get the result you want, then you are productive. If you don't get the result you want, then you're not productive. Why is this helpful? Because when we define productivity this way, it keeps you from confusing being busy with productivity. And we are not trying to jam more stuff into the day here. We are trying to get the result that we want. And that's what this course is all about. So our curriculum for the next 4 weeks is a 4-week kind of structure where each week has a theme and we go deep into a particular aspect and they're all kind of interconnected. And then at the end, after the course is over, I have 2 bonus modules that are pretty extensive. There's like 6 hours of video content there. And they dive really specifically into 2 topics, one of which is focus and distraction. There's 3 lessons on that: destroy distractions, effortless energy, fearless focus. And then there is another exercise, which is its own thing, which is called the time audit. And I'll talk about that later. But for our purposes, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to go through 4 topics. Topic number 1 is productivity. That's this week. I'm going to give you a crash course in everything that I think you need to know about productivity, but only what actually matters if you want to work less. In the second week, we're going to dive deep into protecting your time and eliminating and subtracting and removing things from your schedule. So I'm going to teach you a lesson that I really like teaching called How to Say No. And it is exactly what it sounds like. You're going to have a black belt in saying notice by the time that lesson is over. And then in the next one, I'm going to teach you about how to efficiently communicate. And what I've seen, working one-on-one with people and in my own life, is the most wasted time tends to happen in communication between other people and within organizations. And I have a pretty well-defined process that I'm going to teach you for how to cut your communication time, like, in a quarter. So that's that lesson. Then the back half of the course is really all about creating systems and building leverage. So how do we optimize different parts of our business to either run without us or by someone else? And I teach 2 lessons in week 3, Solopreneur Systems, which is all about creating systems in your business. And then lesson 6 is really kind of my masterclass on one system within a business. And I call it the profit system. And it's really kind of like a smorgasbord of my best thoughts and thinking on profitability and how to structure your business in order to be as profitable as possible. So I think that's a really interesting one. And then in the final week, we're going to get into leverage. So how can we spend money to buy back our time? And then how can we hire people without risk and without paying a full-time salary to gain leverage in our business and buy back our time that way? That's the last lesson. So that's what's on the agenda for the next month. This is available to you in Circle, so don't feel like you need to memorize it. And throughout the course, I'm going to return to kind of 4 key principles. And I'm not going to like teach you these 4 now, but I just want to show them to you. 4 key work less lessons that correspond to each week of the course. So I will tell you about this week's lesson, which is what you do matters more than anything else. And this is a hill that I will die on. And it is that it doesn't really matter how much you work. It matters a million times more what you're doing when you work. So many people work long hours, but they're not getting the right things done, or they are avoiding the things that would actually create leverage in their business and allow them to work significantly less. So we tend to focus on working in our business and solving those immediate problems. And instead, we want to take a step back. And hopefully this course is going to help you with that, to identify the big picture and what work can we do that, when we put in 5 hours to save ourselves 500 hours. That's the point of this lesson. So we'll go through the other 4 over the course of the course, but I wanted to share this with you. And these are kind of like the overarching theme for each week. This is our schedule. This is available basically everywhere, but I wanted to show it to you. We always meet at the same time, same place, 12 o'clock Eastern, whatever that is for your time zone. And we meet on Mondays and Fridays. All right, we made it to part 2. Give me something in the chat. Just let me know you're alive here. Yes. Great job, everyone. All right, we're going to go to the first real learning part of our course. So I want to teach you about, have I switched this? Yeah, we're good. Right. Yeah. I want to teach you about the 2 different types of entrepreneurs. I think this is a really key distinction that you have kind of thought of, but have never really put to words. Because when I learned this, it was like, wow, that explains a lot. So there are 2 types of entrepreneurs. There are achievement entrepreneurs and there are lifestyle entrepreneurs. Let me define an achievement entrepreneur for you. So you see those a lot. They are, by definition, an individual with an inner motivation or an inclination to accomplish something important and unique to attain a feeling of self-accomplishment and satisfaction. So these are the people that our society values the most. They're people that live to work, that they want to solve big, huge, complicated problems, that they want to, work 1 million hours to do it. I guess maybe like an Elon Musk type character could be an achievement entrepreneur, but it is really runs the gamut. Now, the other side of the coin is a lifestyle entrepreneur. A lifestyle entrepreneur is an individual that creates a business with the purpose of altering their personal lifestyle and not for the sole purpose of making profits. A lifestyle entrepreneur focuses more on the life rewards provided to people that enjoy and have a passion for what they're doing. So there's a distinction here. This is someone who works to live. Now, these sound like polar opposites and like really, really far away from each other. One person lives to work, the other works to live. But what I've discovered, let me talk about this. Achievement entrepreneurs handle productivity differently than lifestyle entrepreneurs. An achievement entrepreneur wants to be more productive so that they can invest that gain back into work. So every time that they become a little bit more efficient, or they create a new system, or they get more leverage, they bring it right back into work immediately, right? It's like the people that invest all their profits back into their business. They want to grow, they want to become as big as possible, and they want to just always invest their productivity gains back into work. Now, the lifestyle entrepreneur is going to invest their productivity back into freedom. So more free time, better lifestyle. They value freedom, whereas the achievement entrepreneur obviously values achievement. So what I've learned is that it's not as black and white as you are one or you're the other. It's really a spectrum, and there is no right or wrong answer. And me personally, based on the fact that I teach this course called How to Work Less, one would probably assume that I might be a hard lifestyle entrepreneur, that I am fully to the right of the spectrum. But I'm really not. I still work. I enjoy working. I find it challenging and fun, but I also want to have a life. So that's why, like, I haven't designed a business where I don't need to be there at all. I am still involved. I still do work. I still have fun and, do projects and stuff. So I'm like sitting right here. So what I want to ask you is to assess yourself real quick. And I'm going to pull up this lovely quiz here. And you're going to mark yourself on this very tiny screen where you land on the spectrum. And there's really no wrong answer. And you might change over time depending on what season of your life you're in. But it's important to know this because this is going to help us kind of prioritize how we want to spend our time and how we want to use the things that we learn in this course. Okay, people are all over the place. No, everyone has fully understood that no one is either far to the left or far to the right. Great. All right, awesome. So hopefully that definition is helpful and it's maybe something that you've never thought of before. Let me go back to my slides here. So you may be signed up for this course because you're interested in creating a lifestyle business. And I want to explain what that is and what the components are and how we're going to approach taking whatever it is that you currently have that you're working on and transforming it to meet your goals. So this course is called How to Work Less. I am here to teach you how to build a lifestyle business. These are so there's six kind of components that I think. The first three are pretty widely understood. And then the last three are my unique take on it. So the first three are: one, we're designing our business around our personal lifestyle goals. This is actually quite different than what most people do. Most people kind of work, and then whatever crumbs are left over are their life. We want to take the opposite approach, where we want to define what is our life and then build a business that supports that around it. And so many people miss this step completely. They just think, oh, I'll figure it out later. Well, now's your time to figure it out. Number two is business aims to get maximum output from minimal input. So that means that there are going to be trade-offs. It means that we are going to leave some things on the table because they're not getting big results. We are not trying to do everything. We are trying to do the things that are going to get us the most results with the least work. And you'll learn a lot about that tomorrow in tomorrow's lesson. Or sorry, Friday. Number 3, and this is big, is what we're optimizing for. In a lifestyle business, we are optimizing for profit and freedom. Most regular businesses that you see are not optimizing for that. They are optimizing for revenue and growth. So all of their kind of assumptions that they make that no one ever really talks about or thinks about come back to the idea that the goal of the business is to get bigger. It should get larger over time. That big revenue means big money, means a big success. And I mean, I think there are more than enough examples of massive startups with huge valuations that are not profitable yet to say that that is kind of what our society is interested in. But we're taking the opposite approach. We want to optimize for profit and for free time. So the 3 rich lifestyle business definitions are this. This is my unique take on it. So I'm going to make the case to you that the most productive way to run a lifestyle business is through focusing on high quality, high skill, high expertise, and high price. When we go through the profit lecture in week 3, I will make my case to you very clearly, and you can decide whether you feel differently. But I think you'll probably be convinced that if we are optimizing for free time, this is the best way to do it. And then there's one exception, which I'll talk about. But for most people, high price is the way to go, unless you can create one additional good for no additional cost, for no marginal additional cost. So like, let's say you are like selling software or an online course or something like that, where it costs you no more money to make another one. In that instance, maybe you could not go high price, but I would argue that you probably still should. Anyway, number 5 connects back to our previous page, but there's a difference. The best way to run a lifestyle business is to run it lean, low expenses. It keeps your profits higher and it keeps your risk lower. So that means that we are not renting out the office space with the foosball table and the cold brew machine and the co-working space. We want to keep our expenses low so that we can focus on what's most important to us, which is our lifestyle. And then number 6, which is really, really big, is the constant act of buying back our time. And we do that through systems, contractors, and freelancers. You'll learn more about all this stuff, but this is the background. Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room real quick. There is an elephant in the room. I have tricked you. There is actually a trade-off to running a lifestyle business. You may have to let go of some things that you like if you want to work 15 hours a week, 25 hours a week. Vanity revenue, accolades, saying yes to everything. You are going to have to let go of saying yes to everything, right? When the podcast reaches out to you who has 20 viewers and they want you to be on, you might have to say no. Growth. We may not be optimizing for growth and more work. So we are going to have to trade off some things that historically our society says these are good things because we want freedom. We want less work and we want profit. I will be reminding you constantly that you paid me $1,000+ for a course called How to Work Less. My goal is to help you make as much money as possible in as few hours as possible doing what you do now. We're in the course called How to Work Less. Okay. So there are going to be some trade-offs. That's just the way it is. I will inform you of the trade-offs. It is up to you what to take them. But if you want the best lifestyle business possible, you have to be willing to let go of some things. All right. So how do I work less? That's the question that I get all the time. And I just want to let you know, context wise, we're about less than 10 minutes away from our intermission. So you've been listening to me talk for a while. If you're getting antsy, I get it. We're all going to get up, get a glass of water, do some jumping jacks, whatever you want. We'll have a 5-minute intermission before the second half. So hang with me. Let me know you're doing good. Give me something. Give me something to let you know you're alive here. Yes, we're alive. Great. I know focus is a premium these days, so thank you for sticking in. All right, let's finish strong. How do I work less? I'm going to teach you the work less formula. Some of you may have heard me talk about this before. It's something that I kind of invented after observing myself for a really long period of time. And it's really a framework for what actions you should take if you want a business that optimizes for profit and free time. So this is the formula. If you want to work less, there are 2 things that you can do to help you to work less. The first thing is remove hours from the day. So get the same amount of work done in half the time. And I'll give you an example, but it's obvious, right? If you have 3 projects you need to do today, normally it takes you 8 hours, but somehow I can help you to get them done in 4. We have just worked less. We've got the exact same output with less input. The other side, the fun side of the work less formula, is making each hour more valuable. So in this instance, the example that I always give is double your rate, double your worth, and you can work the half the hours for the same amount of time. And that's not the only way to manipulate it, but it is the easiest one to understand. So I'll give you an example of each of them now. I made this chart like a year ago, and I think it pretty much calls out most people working these days. And it's called Why a 1-Hour Project Takes 3 Hours. And let me know with an emoji or whatever if you're guilty of this, if you've ever done this. I just realized I haven't had the chat on for like 15 minutes. So if you ask me any questions, I will get back to them at some point. I was just going wild there. So this is why your 1-hour project takes 3 hours. The average worker is distracted every 13 minutes. That's from an actual study. So between Slack, email, picking up our phone, looking at social media, getting interrupted, if you have kids, them running around, checking the news, whatever you're checking YouTube, whatever your like distraction of choice is, it is so easy for a project that should only take you 1 hour to take 3. Now, my goal for this course is to help you to take these fake 3-hour projects and make them 1 hour long. And there are a couple ways we're going to do it. I'm going to teach you how to say no. I'm going to teach you how to streamline your communication. And then in the bonuses, if you really want to get deep into it, we can destroy all the distractions, the interruptions, and dive really deep on that. So just a quick list off the top of the head of some ways that you can manipulate this side of the work less formula. You can say no. The most productive thing you can do, this is week 2's rule. The most productive thing that you can do is say no, because when you say no, you don't have to do it. We can be less distracted. We can be better at communicating. So we can batch our emails and messages. We can automate emails and messages. We can take less meetings. Most meetings can be a Loom video or an email. Most Loom videos can probably be an email. Most emails maybe can be nothing or a Slack message if you use Slack. I don't personally. Stopping multitasking is obviously another one. And then working during our peak energy. So actually paying attention to our human body, because believe it or not, our bodies are robots. And we actually have all these chemicals and hormones that go up and down all day long in accordance with the sun and light. And yeah, I know it's disturbing, isn't it? And you may want to structure your work to flow with that. Just an idea. Just an idea. Usually people that are working in alignment with their peak energy can get stuff done like in half the time. So I already covered this, but the quote is, if I had to get everything done today in half the time, what would I do to do that? This is what we're going to return to over and over again throughout this course. All right, the money side of the work less formula is how to make each hour more valuable. So it's doubling your worth and working half the hours for the same amount of money. So in our example here, we make 50 bucks an hour. We charge 50 bucks an hour. And if you work 10 hours, then you make 500 bucks. Now, all of a sudden, if we raise our rates, or we find a client who is willing to pay $100 an hour, or we get some more skills and we can actually charge 100 bucks an hour, all of a sudden we're only working 5 hours for the same amount of money. And I don't need to tell you that that's a good thing. So some ways that we will help you learn about this in the course, as next Friday, we'll be applying the 80-20 principle, and we're going to apply that to the work that you do, your clients, and kind of all of your activities. Obviously, the easiest one in theory is to just charge more money for whatever it is that you do. And I will encourage you to do that and teach you how to structure that. A lot of times raising your rates is a direct result, not of even doing anything different, but being better at providing and communicating value. And stacking skills is a part of that. I'll cover all this later. We can also delegate. I can definitely answer that question, Josh, but I'm not going to answer it right now. Okay. Automate is another one. We have a whole week on that, and building systems is also covered in that. I can answer the peak time question. So I'm a morning person, and it's funny because I wasn't always a morning person. When I was like 21, 22, when I was first starting out, like that year that I made 10 grand, I would stay up until 6 a.m. and then like sleep the entire time that the light was out and do all of my work in the middle of the night. But over the years, I've shifted. So I wake up at like 7:30. And after like a quick morning routine, I usually just work in the morning, and then I try to be done like as soon as I can. So that's me. But it's important to mention that like it's your peak energy at this season of your life. And not everyone's going to be the same, and your personal one might change. And there's an energy bonus. One of the bonus lectures is on energy management. And you really can't get a sense of what your ideal energy level is until you, make sure you're getting good sleep, limit your caffeine, exercise. Like there's a lot to it. Hopefully that helps. So making each hour more valuable, the question that you can always ask yourself is, if I had to double my rates tomorrow, who would I have to be? What would I have to know? What would I have to communicate? Who would I have to work with? Asking yourself the big question. There are always people out there, and this is really important. There are always people out there who are charging more money than you for whatever it is that you do. 100%. Not one person in this room, myself included, is charging the maximum amount of money for anything right now. So just remember that. So we're almost done here into intermish. I want to recap how the formula works when we manipulate it. So if we remove hours from the day, our input goes down, right? We have less hours and we get the same output. If we make each hour more valuable, the value of our time increases. And as a result, we have to input less time to do it. In either way, everything that we are doing in this course is to make the value of an hour of our time increase. The secret to working less is to increase the value of every hour of your time. And that is not just your hours. That is every hour that you're sitting at a computer. Because I know most of you, myself included, I don't get paid every time I sit down at the computer. I only get paid when I'm doing paid work. So how do we make sure each hour, paid or unpaid, the value increases? That's what this is all about. Maybe you've seen a chart that looks like this before. This is a compounding chart. This is actually from the book Atomic Habits. And like many things in life, the work-less formula compounds over time. And the work that you put into it step by step by step over time leads to outsized returns. So an example that I'll give is years ago, I made a deal with myself that for every future project and client that I did for my design business, even if it was just a tiny, tiny bit more, every new project and client, I was going to increase my rates. I was never, whatever the next project is, that was my new rate. And what you find out is like, even if I only increased them 5%, because I was like, oh, I made this deal with myself, I have to do it. All of a sudden you wake up and you're charging $500 an hour or whatever, or 250. This stuff compounds, and these like really tiny decisions that we make, especially around like subtraction, like the value of removing a 1 hour recurring email from your schedule over an entire year is massive. If you can say no to one weekly email, somehow you get back 50 hours. And think about what you can do with that 50 hours. You could work or you could not work. That's what we're talking about here. And that's how this compounds over time. So that's the work-less formula. Thank you for the emojis. Everything we do in this course is designed to teach you how to do these two things. So we are going to be manipulating removing hours from the day, and we're going to be manipulating making each hour more valuable. So that's the work-less formula. I think, yes. Okay. So we're at intermission. Let me just poke through the chat real quick, but I think I'm going to just intermish first, and then maybe we'll return. All right. Put the questions in the chat. I'll respond to them when we get back, because I don't want to like hold people hostage here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit this, and everyone can get up, go to the bathroom, do jumping jacks, get a cup of tea, get a cup of water. We will be back here in 5 minutes, and we'll do the back half, which should be a little bit shorter. All right. We're back. Hope everyone has returned from their exceptional break. All right. Let me answer these 3 questions real quick. All right. So the first question: will the work less formula be applicable for my husband who works in a company as a management consultant and earns a salary and a bonus? So it really depends on a couple of things. Like, if the management consulting job lets them operate fully autonomously, then sure, it could work. But unfortunately, there is a culture, especially around management consulting, where you are expected to be all hands on deck and working all the time. So it really depends on the culture of the company and whether there are not pressures to work just to be working. So that's one thing. They're also probably not going to let your husband like hire outside help to help leverage his time that way. Which is why I said, in the course materials, you really need to have full control over your time to get the benefit of this. So yeah, the concepts work, but unless you have full control over your time, it's going to be tough to get the max benefit. Okay, John said, what's your IG schedule? Do I batch them for a week, month? Give them the secret. Okay, I will give up the secret. A very, very short version. I do batch them every week. I probably write like only 3, maybe 4 posts a week. And I do repost and repurpose a lot of stuff. At this point, I've been on IG for 15 months. And I repost content just as often as I post new content because most of the people haven't seen it. So that's kind of my efficient way of doing it. But I do want to create some kind of like talk about how to productively manage social media, because I think there are a lot of systems that I have that people aren't doing. All right, let me answer this last one and then we should start. Rich, do you include the time you spend building your personal brand into the time you term as work to get all this done? Yes, I do. So that time last year, the 15 hours a day was my agency and posting on social media and this work. This year, I am probably working less hours on my agency. I most weeks only work like 5 hours on it. And I spend more of my time doing this stuff because it's more fun and my business kind of runs itself for the most part, unless it's like a big project. So yeah, that's the answer. But I would say like right now, when I work, like if it's a work day, I probably do like 4 to 5 hours. But I've been taking more time off. So I don't know it's weird when you add it all up and then divide it by the number of days in the month, because it makes it seem like it's like, 3 hours a day or whatever. But more often than not, if I'm sitting down to work, it's probably like a 4 or 5 hour day. All right, let's get back into the course. I'll answer more questions later. I don't want to keep people that have other stuff to do. All right. Mateo, I will answer all of your questions, I promise. But I'll do it at the end. We're at part 3 of 4. And I want to teach you what I think will be quite helpful. I call it the right thing framework. Let me get the chat up so I don't lose it. Great. All right, let's bring it back. Hey, everyone. You're doing a great job. You're killing it. Everyone here is awesome. So remember when I shared with you those 4 lessons, 1 for each week, and I said, what you do matters more than anything else? What should I do? It's a great question. There are literally an infinite number of things that we can do each day, but there are only a select few that are going to get us what we want. So, how do we actually make time for what's most important in our life and our work? I'm going to teach you how to start working on that. I have created what I call the Right Thing Framework, which is one habit that we're going to practice together. It takes about 5 minutes and it's going to teach you two super, super important productivity principles. Number one is prioritizing. So, actually identifying what's important and what isn't important. Number two is making time. How do we actually make time for the things that matter every day? We're going to do both. Two birds with one stone. So I've got this document that I wrote. It's called the Work Less Manifesto. Maybe you've seen it on my website. Maybe you have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm not going to get super into it, but I will reference it throughout the course. And the first item of 10 in the Work Less Manifesto is I will work on the right thing, not anything. So there's a whole description here. I'm not going to read it to you. You can check it out on my website. It's right up at the top. But what I do want to say is the second half. My strategic advantage is identifying and working on the right thing at the right time. I win by making better decisions, having better systems, and saying no more often. I will not do more in order to do more. I will think more in order to. And that's kind of the key philosophy here. There's this book that I read this year that I enjoyed. It's called Free Time. It's written by this woman, Jenny Blake. And I think she really sums up why this matters so much, specifically for self-employed people, and how it's so different than the culture that folks with 9-to-5 experience. And it's this idea that hard work no longer has a direct correlation to the profit that you generate. So when you're self-employed, there is actually no guarantee that just sitting at the desk for more hours is going to get you positive results. And that's actually optimistic for me, because I'm not interested in working a million hours. I really want to focus on what matters and do that and stop doing everything else. And she says, hard work itself is meaningless. In a small business, there's no place to hide. The work must work. And she says it must be strategic and revenue generating. Otherwise, you'll quickly go out of business. So let me give you an example from my life. This is just a random assortment of all the stuff that happens in my business. I could do anything on this list and make the argument that I'm working and it's good work and it's stuff that I should be doing, right? This is all very reasonable work stuff. You know, this is all real work. But what am I focused on right now? My one thing, creating the best possible experience for my students. None of that stuff. I have one priority, and it's none of that stuff. That's right, all you out there. So I want to teach you two frameworks for prioritizing what's actually important in your business. And we're going to start building the habit and building the muscle of identifying the most important thing that we need to do each day. So there's two books where I've gotten this, I pulled inspiration from this from. I want to give credit to them. These are both really good books. I recommend both if you haven't read them. The One Thing by Gary Keller and Fix This Next. So the one thing in the book, The One Thing, is this question. And it's perfect. So he calls it the focusing question. And the focusing question says, what is the one thing that I can do such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Let me show you an example. I'm going to give you a really broad example here just to make my point. So your one thing might be hiring a virtual assistant. Maybe you don't have one. Maybe you've never delegated before. And why is this something that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? Because if you hire a VA, you can check your email less forever. You'll have more free time. Maybe you won't have to post on social media yourself. Maybe you won't have to, I don't know, update spreadsheets yourself. And if you don't do that, you're going to keep checking your email. You're going to keep doing busy work. You're going to post manually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not all tasks are created equal. And this is where people get confused, because we will weight the most important thing the same weight as checking your email or checking your DMs on Instagram or, I don't know, updating something, the design on your website that is really only just for you and not for, your customers. Not all tasks are created equal. I'm going to skip this and come back to it because I want to do some scenarios with you to help you understand how to apply this. We're going to do some quick quizzes. All right. Don't overthink this. Project A or Project B. One pays you $500, one pays you $5,000. Don't overthink it. This is going to help you to decide what's most important. Great. One way to decide whether something is important is which thing makes you more money. Obviously, that is quite obvious. Obviously, it's obvious. That example, but sometimes it's a little bit more confusing because sometimes we have two projects and one is due tomorrow and one is due in 2 weeks. Which one do we work on? What's most important? You have both. Don't 2 week people, don't lie. You're doing the tomorrow project if you have to do both of them. Unless you know something I don't know about Project A and Project B. It's urgent, right? Sometimes all things else equal, we have to do the thing that's due urgently, for better or for worse. This is where things get complicated. Project A, it's due tomorrow, but you only get $500 versus Project B. It's due in 3 weeks, but it's a $50,000 project. What are we working on today? There are a lot of you saying you would work on Project B, but my experience has been most people will actually do Project A. And when it's actually put out in front of us like that, the logic is so insane, right? The idea that, like, dude, throw Project A in the trash. We don't even need Project A. Project B is where it's at. And yet, just because it's due tomorrow, we will focus on it. That's some of the things that we want to start thinking about, right? The decision isn't easy sometimes. Okay. Hiring a freelancer to do a project versus doing it yourself. Which do you do? So a lot of times, the best task to do is one that's high leverage, like delegating to someone, building a system, saying no. Okay, here's another good one. If your business is Instagram, then maybe you want to do that. So we want to do the tasks that are high skill. Let's be real. You don't need high skill to answer Instagram comments. Would you, what's more important, redesigning your website or taking an unsolicited coffee chat? Good job. Something you would procrastinate on, right? Sometimes we'll take any excuse to not do what we're working on. So these are all decision-making frameworks, and you're going to see this all written down in a second, that will allow you to decide what your most important thing is. Pick one of these. What's more important? A lot of email people. A lot of email people. Okay, that's a trick question. Your most important thing is never on your phone, in your email, or on social media. The most important thing that you need to do in any given day is never these three things. Okay, let me show you what this looks like on paper. And you'll get a cheat sheet for this. Where's share screen? Here we go. So, all right, this is our cheat sheet that will help you. You can kind of run through all of these, and it should help you to determine what your most important thing is. So each day, what we're going to be doing, and I'll explain this specifically in a second, is we are going to start practicing identifying the most important thing that we need to work on each day. And this is kind of a framework that, when you identify what you think you should work on, you can ask these questions and say, okay, is what I'm doing bringing in money? Is it urgent? Is it proactive work or is it reactive? Is it bringing us closer to what we want? Is it helping us to manipulate one side of the work less formula? It might just be regular work, right? So someone mentioned this in the chat, and I think this is really important to bring up. Josh said it. The social element of answering comments, coffee chats, being in meetings seems more appealing than during the work. It does. It does. So a lot of times we will do anything to not have to do the one thing that's most important. We will not have clarity on it because we just decide to not think about it. And instead, we will focus on what's most immediate. What is coming in through a feed, whether that is email, Slack, social media, the news, urgent work, emergencies. More often than not, we say that we're good at identifying our priorities, but we tend to default to doing either what is easiest or what is most well-defined on our list of tasks. So when things get more complicated, it freaks us out and we just don't do it. We avoid those big tasks because it's easier to just say, well, I know how to do this, so I'm going to do it instead. And then maybe I'll think about it later. I'm going to come back to one other decision-making thing, but I want to share step one of this activity. So step one is, what is my most important thing? So what is the one thing that if I get it done, the day will be a success and I will have made progress on my goals? And by picking this thing, it allows us to practice prioritizing. Step two is to schedule it. This is just as important as the first step. It is deciding what, for 60, 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours, what time am I going to do my most important thing? And my goal here is to help us build the habit, which is, I think, the most important productivity habit of taking 5 minutes, maybe 10, to think about what your most important thing is and schedule it. It's extremely, extremely simple. It's not like advanced stuff, but my experience has been that either people don't do it and they think they're doing it, or they do it, but they actually just pick easy stuff and they don't take the extra step to ask, what do I really need to be doing? I think I'm going to skip this. I feel like there's enough experience here that I can skip this. Basically, I was going to go, there is this like metaphor about scheduling stuff, right? And there's big rocks, pebbles, and sand. Maybe you've heard this before. If not, read through the slides. It's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, if you do all the small stuff first, you will never have time for the big stuff. If you do the big stuff, small stuff around it like sand. People talk about it a lot. So a lot of times we have our big thing that we know we want to do, our right thing, but everyday things come up, an emergency, a project, and then all of a sudden we have this thing that we know we really want to do, this task that we know is important, and we will push it down the calendar for weeks or months. There is a universe, given my nature, where I could have never done this course. I could have been like, yeah, that's a good idea. And, whatever, 8 months ago when I originally thought about it, was just like, I'll start it tomorrow, and pushed it off. And none of us would be sitting here right now. That is why this is so important. So the way that we solve for this is we make a meeting with ourselves and we protect it like a real meeting. So you actually put it on your calendar. If anyone else has access to your calendar, you say meeting with Rich from 9 a.m. to 10:30, and that's where you do your most important thing. So it's very simple. It's 2 steps. I'll give you the framework. You'll be able to look at the guide, and you're deciding step 1, what's my most important thing? And step 2, when am I going to do it? All right. We're going to do this together right now. We're going to do it for tomorrow. 2 steps. We're going to write this out. Number 1, what's my most important thing? My most important thing is, and number 2, I'm going to do it at what time? So I'm going to I'm going to share my screen. Oops, stop sharing. I'm going to throw on a little Jeopardy. Can you all hear my Jeopardy? Oh, this is a heartbreaker. All right, everyone, we're going to take 5 minutes right now. I'm going to get Jeopardy playing while you're writing in the chat what you're going to do tomorrow. And hopefully once people start posting, you'll have some inspiration. And you can write it like this. I'll put the format in the chat for you. Write it like that. All right. We'll get Jeopardy going. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Oops.
Our thing for today?
For tomorrow. Well, okay. It can be... I'm failing with my mic. Everyone is on different time zones. So if you have a whole day ahead of you, you can do today. My assumption based on my time zone is that you would want to do it for tomorrow. But if you still have gas in the tank, like if you're on the West Coast of the States, then you could do today. But my suggestion is otherwise do it tomorrow. Great question. Thank you. Thanks, Jeopardy.
Hey, Rich.
Yes.
Could you show the checklist of the what is important? I think I'm just something I'm still thinking about.
Yeah, that's great. I would be
Thank
happy
you.
to do that. Rachel, that might be your most important thing.
About the most important thing. Do we pick the most important thing which is different on like a day-to-day basis, or
Yes.
is it like, are we treating it like a project, like, okay, there's this bigger thing that I need to get done and I'm kind of going to work on it consistently until it's done?
It depends on what your biggest thing is. If your most important thing that you need to do is a project, then you would do it over many days until it's done.
Got it. Okay.
I hope as the course progresses, we will also get better at identifying the highest leverage, most important things, right? Because it's easy to say, oh, my most important thing is the next thing I have to do on my to-do list. And a lot of times, if we take that extra step back, there is something that could allow us to maybe never have to do that thing on our to-do list again. Go ahead, Alejandro.
Yeah, my question was around exactly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, 1 second. We've got dueling Jeopardy here.
Okay. How about now?
You're good. I just turned it off.
Okay. Yeah, my question was around. I mean, I know we can decide what's our immediate next task for this week, but I was thinking more around the areas of it being.
I didn't mean to do that. Wait, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Come back. I didn't mean to do that.
How about now?
Okay, come back. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, what I was saying is that maybe what I was thinking is, it seems that choosing the right next thing to do seems very short-sighted and more like tactical in terms of, at least for me, like, getting swallowed into the daily basic tasks and not necessarily strategic or revenue generating. So that was my question. What would you recommend in terms of how do we choose, how do we separate the ones that are, those urgent matters that we need to tackle versus the ones that are more revenue generating or time freeing?
Good question. So the most important thing should be strategic and revenue generating. Your goal should not be to be putting out fires or just finding the most important thing, like the most urgent thing on your to-do list. The whole point of identifying this is to select a strategic task by 2 p.m. people. It is like the thing that is going to move you towards your goal. It's not just the most important item on your to-do list. It's you're thinking strategically. So it's not about that, like just whatever's urgent. You want to be revenue generating. You want to be thinking about the big picture. And I think that is the key distinction between how people normally behave and selecting the right thing, is that it is supposed to be strategic.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and one last question: is that how you usually base your decisions? Like you created a habit now of doing that all the time. Like that's your filter towards most of the decisions that you schedule.
That is the filter for at least one thing a day. I know that I have other stuff that I have to do. Sometimes it is very important. Sometimes it's moderately important. If ideally I'm trying to not do anything that's not important, and I try to remove that from my schedule, and we'll talk more about that. But I try to make that decision every day that at least the first thing on my list is something that is high leverage and moving the ball forward and is big picture. Or it is something that requires, you know, a lot of deep thinking or deep work.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. That's a great question. All right. So at this point, everyone should have probably written their things. I want you to build this habit, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make it a habit. Here we go. All right. So great job, everyone, on doing that. What we're going to do now is this is actually a challenge, and we're going to get better and better at this every day. So for the next 20 days, we've already got, you get a free pass the first day because it's today. But for the next 20 days in our course platform, you are going to put 1, your right thing, and 2, you're going to put what time you're going to do it. And you're going to post that once a day. And it should only take you 2 minutes to actually put it in there. Check out what everyone else is doing. See if you can't give each other feedback on, you know, what looks good. You'll get some inspiration from looking at other people's things. And we're going to build a habit over the next 20 days. This is a 10-minute habit maximum to do this entire thing. And each week that you go 5 for 5, can you batch this homework? Each week that you go 5, this is the most important thing. Your most important thing is deciding what your most important thing is. That's how important this stuff is. Each week that you go 5 for 5, you will get a badge next to your name. So this week, you get a free pass today, but you're going to post whatever you posted in the chat in there for your first one, and you'll write it, your name, right thing, number 2 of 20 will be for tomorrow. We're all in different time zones, so there's no like pressure on when you post it and stuff. And you're going to go in there into Circle. You'll see the place for it, and you just paste it in, and you just write your name, right thing, 2 of 20. And then tomorrow, you'll do 3 of 20, and you'll put in whatever your next thing is. And each week you do it, you'll get a badge. Your goal is to do all 20 and end up with the coolest badge. But if you miss a day, you can definitely get back up on it, and you will still be able to get the next week's badge. So don't feel like this is a all or nothing. It is week by week. So there's always a following week if you don't make it. So we will assign that to you if you do it. I want to see everyone with a bunch of badges, and I want to help you to build this muscle of deciding what's most important and actually making progress on things every day. I also created this guide here, which if you are a paper person, or if it's easier for you to remember a habit, I have printed out, or I've created this PDF printable guide where you can either just use it as a checklist, if that's easy, just to put it on your desk and remember that it's there. Your most important thing is to get that badge. That's right. You don't want to be sitting in the Circle community looking at everyone else's badges, realizing, man, if I just thought about what's actually important in my life, I would have done it. So go through here, and you can write it manually if you want to do it. You could write it manually and then just dump it in once a week. Like, I'm not going to be the police about this. It's an honor system. Or you can just use this as a checklist and just check the upper right-hand corner to remind yourself to do it. Okay, so that is the assignment. We're going to keep coming back to this, and we're going to continue to assess the quality of our right things. But the goal for now is to really, excuse me, really just build the habit and get better at doing it. 1 year challenge. If everyone gets 20 for 20, we can talk about a 1 year challenge. So that is that. Are there any questions about this before we go to the next section? And the next section shouldn't take long. All right, awesome. Great. Okay, last section. I want to talk about designing your life. So there's this quote that I think about a lot. It's not super complicated, but the quote is from Stephen Covey, and it is Covey, maybe? I don't know. Begin with the end in mind. This is kind of how I approach all of my planning, and this is going to be how we approach this course. So before we leave on a trip, before we travel, at least you would probably look at a map, right? If you wanted to get to your vacation destination, you would either look at a map or put a GPS or put it in your Maps app. Before doing a puzzle, you would probably look at a cover of the box to see what the finished puzzle looks like. It would be a lot harder to build a puzzle without knowing what the end result looks like. Or if you were going to cook, you would probably say, I am going to make macaroni and cheese. And then knowing that, you would probably gather the ingredients for that, right? So in all these instances, we have a desired end result, and we think about that first. So how do we know what to do when we don't know where we want to go? It's a valid question, Rich. Have you ever done this before? Let me just check my email just to see what to do today, right? How often do you sit down at work and then you're like, what emails have I gotten? What emergencies are there? What do other people want me to do? Or let me just check my to-do list and see what to do today. Rather than working from what our goals are and then planning our to-do list accordingly. Both of these are short-term reactive work, and we want to limit that. I think about this all the time. By not having a goal or a priority, we are having a priority. There is no way to escape not having a priority. When we don't have a plan and we are not protecting our time for something that's important to us, our priority is whatever pops up or whatever other people ask us to do. We end up helping someone else finish their to-do list or work on their dreams. And I want to be clear. People forget this sometimes. A lot of times we see how regular businesses work, or 9-to-5 jobs. There's a lot of culture around this. And I want to remind you that it's your business. You do not have to work 40 hours a week. When you're self-employed, you can do whatever you want. You don't have to be available 9 to 5. When you're self-employed, you can do whatever you want. You can set your own terms. You can build your business around your life. And the way that we do that is we start from the outcome and we work backwards. And we start by defining what we want, and then we ask ourselves the questions to say, how do I get there? Many years ago, I kind of got clear about what I wanted for my business. And I started to actually write it down. And I said, I want to work 15 hours a week. I want to make at least 200 grand. I want to be able to work from anywhere. I want to do client work that I actually like. I want to work with clients that don't suck. I don't want to have to travel for work because I don't like traveling for work. And I don't want to be in a lot of meetings because I don't like meetings. This was my list of my outcome that I wanted to get to someday. Now, what was going on when this happened? At that time, I was running this business. I was billing by the hour, so I was basically just selling my time. I did everything myself. I, remember before I showed you that list of all those tasks that I could possibly do in a day? I did all of it. I also said yes to everything. I thought my business model at the time was like, if someone says they'll give me money for something, I should say yes. I never said no. I wrote proposals for things I had no business writing proposals for. And I spent the majority of my week sitting in meetings. So back to our quote. Covey, however you pronounce it, he says, all things are created twice. There is a mental creation, which happens first, and then a physical creation, which happens second. That's not surprising, right? So our homework assignment, which should not take you very long, I promise. I design all these assignments to not take a lot of your time because I don't want you to be so overwhelmed that you don't do them, is to get clear on what an end outcome actually looks like. So I have 5 questions for you that we're going to work on. And the goal here is to find an end outcome so that we can work backwards and figure out what we need to adjust to make that outcome happen. So what do I want my life and my work to look like? You know what? If it keeps you up all night, it means you're probably thinking hard about it, which is great. So the first question is extremely simple. How many hours do I want to work? Maybe you want to stop work at noon. Maybe you want to work 4 days a week. Maybe you want to work full time, but only 4 days a week. Or maybe you want to be able to hike in the morning. How many hours of work do you want to work? 0? If you want to work 0, you need to do things to get to 0. Because what we're going to do when we fill out these answers is we're going to change things to allow you to do this. So don't think, Rich, I want to work 1 hour a day, and then don't be willing to design your business to let you work 1 hour a day. That's just as important as setting this goal, is being willing to make the adjustments to have this happen. Because it's really easy to say, yeah, I want to work 0 hours and I want to make $1 million a year. But to do that, you have to do things. So that's just as important. So question 1 is, how many hours do I want to work? Either a day or a week. You can get really specific about why it is you're doing it. You can just have a number. You know what? Maybe it's just, I want to work less than I'm working now, or I want to work 2 hours less, or 4 days a week. Question number 2, how much money do I want to make? That's a real question. And that is a question that you need to answer, understanding that we are going to make changes to help you to get to this goal. So what kind of lifestyle do you want? Are you an achievement or a lifestyle entrepreneur? Are you willing to trade your time for money to make more? There is a trade-off between hours worked and money sometimes. Sometimes, like, I could probably make more money if I worked more with my current situation. But at this point, there isn't any more money that I would want in order to make me work more. Okay, Bogdan's going to wants $1 billion a week. You should start Tesla or something. Questions that you might want to ask yourself. Am I willing to trade my time for money to make more? Another question that is worth asking is, can I make this money with ease? There is a big difference between grinding it out and putting our pedal to the metal to try to eke out an extra, couple grand and make it painful, or do it with ease. And I want to say this, because we are talking about how to work less. This is important. If your goal is more when it comes to money, there will never be enough. If your goal is enough, you can reach it. And that's a tough thing for a lot of people to hear. But if you just say, I want to make more money and I never want to stop making more money, you will spend your entire life focused on that. And it's going to be really hard to actually implement working less. At this point, I don't feel like, I mean, listen, I make a lot of money, but I wouldn't work anymore for any more money at this point. And I would consider making less money to work less. Okay. So those two seem kind of hard, right? We're getting really clear on how much we want to work and how much we want to make so that we can design backwards from there. This gets a lot easier. This is probably the most interesting question because it's the most actionable. Sometimes we don't really know what we want and it gets overwhelming. But what most people do know is what they don't want. What most people do know is what they hate. So question 3 is, what do I not want to do? And you can make this as a list. What do you hate doing? What do you not like about work? What clients do you not want to work with anymore? Do you like sitting in Zoom meetings all day long? Do you like having to stay up until 3 a.m. for your one client that is in a different time zone? You will get a ton of value from eliminating things that you dislike, much more by trying to add more things that you might like trying to, I don't know, add more money or something. You can get a lot more value from listing what you don't want to do and then designing your business to do that. So like in my example, I was like, I hate meetings. I don't want to be in meetings. And I adjusted my schedule. One of the changes that I made was I said, okay, I'm only going to take meetings 1 day a week. And that's it. And I also renegotiated how I communicate with a lot of my clients so that we can still communicate like we need to, but without the constant like emergency meetings and talking all the time. So that's question 3. Question 4 is asking yourself, what do I actually want to do while I'm working? What brings me the most joy? What things do I do that are profitable? What do people come to you for help with? That might be a good indicator of what things provide a lot of value. What is the work that only you can do? What do you want to do more of? What do you want to do less of? Very simple. What do I actually want to do? What is my job going to be? And what tasks am I going to do within that? And then finally, the big whopper. Why am I working less? Like I said, we all signed up for a course called How to Work Less. And it's worth thinking about why you want to do it. What does my lifestyle look like? What activities do I want to do? What does this end outcome actually look like? What hobbies do I want to have? How much time do I want to have to be with my family? What goals do I want? These 5 questions you need to answer. Otherwise, it is going to be really hard to design your business around your end goal. When I said at the beginning, this is the definition of a lifestyle business, I said it is designed around your lifestyle and the life that you want. If you have no idea what you want, it is going to be very hard to figure out how to manipulate things within your business in order to make this happen. I'm going to skip this. Throughout the course, we are going to return to this. And as we hit milestones, do not be surprised if I ask you, what's on your Design Your Life document? If I say, listen, how many hours do you want to work a week? And then I might ask you, what would you need to do in order to work 4 hours a day or to take Friday off? And it's going to be really difficult to make changes if you don't have an endpoint. Like I said, apparently I predicted this slide. If you said, I want to work 4 days a week, what would you need to do in order to accomplish that? This is the question you're going to ask once you have your outcome. What would you need to do? What kind of systems would you need to have in place? What would you need to communicate to the people you work with or to your clients? Who would you need to become? What skills would you need? How would a person who worked 4 days a week handle this? There is a lot more leeway out there for having a lifestyle that is non-traditional than you think. Most of us are just afraid to ask for it and to do the things that we need to do in order to apply it. I think in a lot of ways, going down to a 4-day week is really manageable for most people. There is not much that needs to be changed in order to make that work. Most of the time, if you can just get a little bit more efficient, so if you work on the subtraction side of the work loss formula, and then you get better at communicating to all the external people about working 4 days a week, I think most people could do it. And if that's your goal, we want to help you get there. So your assignment, this is in Circle, is to answer these 5 questions. I don't know why this icon got messed up. It shouldn't take you long. You can be as short or as detailed as you want, but I want you to at least be able, when I ask you, to give me these answers. What do I not want to do? How much do I want to make? How many hours do you want to work? So then we can say, how do we work backwards from this? If you do this, if you succeed at posting the answer to these 5 questions, you will be awarded with this exquisite Design Your Life badge, which you cannot get anywhere else except by completing these 5 questions. And there is also in Notion, in the Notion workspace, there is a worksheet where you can brainstorm if you prefer to do it in Notion. Otherwise, you can just type it right into Circle. And when you post it, we will drop that right next to your name, and you're going to be like, I'm actually doing the course. I am not just sitting in the sessions and not doing the course. This course is designed to give you the tools, the inspiration, and the accountability to make the changes to help you reach this goal, to help set in motion everything that you need to get from point A to point B. But if there is no point A, you're just going to do random stuff. Stephen Covey said it best, begin with the end in mind. Okay, that is actually our entire lesson. I went a little bit over, but not as bad as I thought. I'm going to recap this real quick. If you need to go, you are welcome to go. It is totally reasonable to consider the homework assignments of this course your most important thing, just keeping it real. So we covered the difference between achievement and lifestyle entrepreneurs. We defined what a lifestyle business is, those 6 definitions. We taught you the work loss formula. We're going to keep coming back to that over and over again. We taught you the right thing framework. You're on the right thing challenge, 1 out of 20. And then we gave you the short Design Your Life assignment. So homework wise, we're going to post the right thing daily in the assignment section. If we do it, you get an incredible medal for each week that you succeed. And by Friday, you want to complete the 5 Design Your Life questions, and you will get this lovely palette next to your name as a sign of all the great things that you've done so far. So that's it. That's the course, at least today's lesson. We meet again on Friday. You are welcome to head out if you want. I'm going to stick around to answer any lingering questions. And otherwise, the replay will be posted as soon as it exports and I paste everything in. And we'll all hang out together on Friday, and we'll have a good time. Yeah, feel free to use the questions in the FAQ on Circle, because I think that's going to allow people to read the answers to your questions. So I'm going to turn off my screen. Let's see what the chat says. You're very welcome, everyone. Thank you, Mateo. Thanks, Jolene. Thanks, Alejandra. What is it? Whoa, nice. David, you're killing it. This is awesome. This is really good. I'm going to put this in the in a different section, but this is awesome. Thank you for posting this. Company of One is a really good book. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Claire. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Adnan. Thanks, Max. Thanks, Neil. Off to a good start. Thanks, Justine, Christoph, Carmen. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you all in circle.
Is this open Q&A now?
Yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
Oh, sorry. It's me,
Where are you?
Josh.
Can you hear me? Wait, who said that?
It's Josh.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I was
just kidding.
I was reading Daniel's name and then responding to you.
All good.
Do you have an open queue?
I'm thinking of a question. There was a lot to go through, but I think it's something. I think it's a little challenging just identifying the basically like the future desired state, because sometimes we don't know what we really want until we kind of like get there, and when we get there, there's a lot of like pivoting. So to like almost, I guess you have to start in some place, right? But like it's hard to identify the end goal from the beginning. But yeah, anyways, so I'm just kind of like externally
point.
processing at that.
Let me give you one piece of perspective.
Mhm.
So first of all, I can tell you that sometimes the third question can be most instructive, which is defining what you don't want to do. If we can at least start to remove that stuff, it opens up more space for the things that we do want to do.
Mhm.
And usually we tend to have a pretty visceral reaction to the stuff that we don't like, the things that we dread doing. And most people just think, oh, well, that's just part of work and work sucks. And it doesn't always have to be that way. Sure, there are going to be things that are uncomfortable, but there are also a lot of things that you can say, I don't want to do this anymore. And this is an alternate way to do it. So I think that that's an interesting perspective. And you also don't have to, like, no one's asking you to commit to an end state for the rest of your life. This is something that we can revisit constantly. And, you know, if you had asked me this question a year and a half ago, I would have given you probably totally different answers. So it's something you have to keep asking. So like, I didn't even have an Instagram account a year and a half ago. So all of the things that have happened since then, including this course, were not even possible.
Right.
So that's why it's like, you need to just have aim somewhere,
Right.
and then update it as more information becomes available.
Right. Got it. Yeah, that's a good point. Just setting some goalpost and then reassessing when you arrive there.
For sure.
Got it.
Oh, thanks for sharing the link to the manifesto. You got any other questions, Josh? Oh, no, now you're muted. I guess not.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the link to the manifesto. Feel free to read it. I wrote it and I thought it was going to be like something I talked about all the time. And then I just kind of forgot that I wrote it. But it's really, I don't know, it's worth reading. A lot of the thought and the thinking behind this course is directly related to the manifesto. So read it if you want. Mateo, how many collaborators do I have? So I work with a team of maybe 10 to 15 different freelancers and contractors for my business. And they're not all working at once. It's kind of like a trusted roster of people that I use over and over again. And I'm going to get really, because it's something that people ask a lot about, I'm going to get really, really specific on how to do this, on how to build up a roster of really good contractors and freelancers. And I'll share the exact process that I used for it. And it's definitely a long game, but when you play this long game, you get really, really good rewards. So that's my answer. I have designers, video editors, animators, developers. Obviously, I have like financial people, my accountant, my bookkeeper who I work with, assistant, and I think that's pretty much it. The resource that explains how to use Notion does not exist yet. I'm going to share it later today, and it'll be just a quick guide on how to get set up with Notion. But there's a link to download it in Circle now, as well as a link to the toolkit if you want to play around. Last cohort, everyone knew how to use it, so I didn't need to provide resources on it, but I will put something together for you real quick. Yeah, no problem. Do I present myself to clients as an agency, but are you a freelance? So I have always branded myself as a agency, but I like to think of myself as an agency in name only, because I don't do any of the things that agencies normally do. So I try to not have a lot of overhead. I have no employees. I don't have office space. I don't compete with other agencies on agency projects. I really am not like in the agency world, but I do work with companies that are like, they're big enough that they're bringing in like $1 million to maybe 10 in revenue. So they have enough that they can afford me, but I am also not trying to take a bite out of the agency world's apple with the like massive companies where there can be 5 or 10 different agencies bidding on a project. So I'm just in a sweet spot where the clients are big enough that they can afford me, but they're not so big that I have to like go through rigorous competition to win business. But fiscally, yeah, I'm a solo business. I am 32. I'll turn 33 in December. When we set up how much money we want to make, do we think in benefit or revenue? Honestly, you don't need a, it's however you want to think about it. Like the money thing is really for you. So it might be like, what is the target number that you need to reach a certain lifestyle? Like a lot of people don't think about it as like, oh, what is a random number that sounds like a lot of money that will make all my problems go away. A lot of times it's more helpful to think, what number do I need to get to where all of my lifestyle expenses are covered? Like, what's that number? So where am I where my rent, my groceries, my utilities, putting money into savings, putting money into an investment. What is my like break even number where I need to just hit this? And then any future productivity investment that I get, I could just invest it into working less. So it's kind of like your minimum break-even number. Hopefully that helps. Do I have international clients, work across different time zones? I don't right now, but I have in the past. I do work across different time zones because I, work with people on the West Coast in the States, but that's 3 hours. So that's not really significant. Most of the work that I do is asynchronous anyway, with the exception of 1 day a week where I have kind of quick check-in calls. John, I wish I had it together at 32. What makes you think I have it together, man? I have this stuff that I'm interested in, but I don't think I have it together. You got to eat. Here's the thing. It's so tempting to like look at other people online and on the internet and say, I just wish I had it like them, or, I wish I had my thing set up when I was their age. It's very tempting to look at other people, but I heard this like phrase. I don't know. This is probably from Twitter or something. And they were like, yeah, if you think you want to be someone else, you really have to, I think the phrase was eat the whole enchilada. So you have to be willing to swap everything about their life if you want to be them. And everyone's a human. Like we all have stuff going on that is not, not fun. You know, my life is not like a perfectly manicured, exceptional specimen by any means. So don't think that I have it all together. I'm just good at productivity and talking about it a little bit. I'm just a dude.
And good at gaming.
And good at gaming. And listen, I can't draw Spider-Man, okay, John? So you have to remember that there are probably a lot of people that wish that they could be a comic book artist and they can't. So think about that. All right, I'm going to take one or two more questions and then we'll retire for today. If any other thoughts come up between now and Friday, there is you message me in Circle or post there, and yeah, I think we'll rock it out from here.
I got a question. What was like the biggest change you saw in your student in the last cohort after taking this course?
That's a great question. Honestly, I wonder if any of them are here. I don't think so. No, I think everyone left. Honestly, I mean, probably, I mean, the most exciting one, it's kind of cheating because she's also my private coaching person in addition to taking the course. But I can't really get that specific. Large and
Bigger profits.
larger increase in profits and 20 hours of work a week.
Oh wow.
But it's not like that was on day 28 of the course. You know, it was basically by taking action on the things that we talked about in the course. Because a lot of this said, like I mentioned, a lot of this stuff compounds over time, right? Like if I can get you to, example, for some people, like bringing on freelancers or a VA can unlock a ton of time, but you won't see the like outsized returns on that for 3, 6, 9, 12 months when you're like, oh, wow, I all of a sudden have 12 or 10 extra hours a week. And now I've had them for a year, and then you wake up and you're like, wow, like, you know, I've either worked a ton less or made a ton more money.
Great. Awesome.
But I think you've got some potential, Josh. I think we can do some stuff with you.
I hope so. Got a lot going on. So yeah, bring in some efficiencies and systems would be great.
Yeah. Don't be sad when I tell you to stop doing stuff.
Yes, I'm all for it. I'm gonna crack the whip. I'm all for it.
All right, cool. Well, I'm going to wrap it here. Thanks everyone for a great first session. Thanks for sticking around. I did not intend to go for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Fortunately, it's a holiday here in the States, so I think that probably played to my benefit. And yeah, I'll see everyone on Friday. Thanks so much. Wait, one more for the road. Thank you.